Hello and welcome to Mzansi. We are back again. It is that time where we have to deliver where we didn't, wherever we missed. We are here, and obviously watch out for updates that we'll be giving you of certain things that we think they need proper attention. We cannot obviously announce here because, this is the platform of people that do things that we happen to think alike sometimes. So, Emily, what happened on Friday?
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us yet again for another deliberation on the Senzo Meyiwa Trial. Friday I couldn't go live with you guys. I tried to explain on the community tab that it was a long day and I couldn't quite follow the court proceedings. But after I've watched, I've got a lot to get off my chest.
Yes.
There's too many things that happened on Friday that are making me feel so scared. That are making me feel extremely uncomfortable. But Mr. Anonymous, we're getting to them right now. So yes, guys, do the right thing. Like the video, comment, share, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and please press that like button. You will not regret it because we always deliver here. And thank you so much for the encouraging comments. I'm seeing a lot of positive comments coming through, and thank you so much. They're highly appreciated.
Thank you.
Yes. Day 5 of Bongani Ntanzi on the witness box was on Friday, and Mr. Ramasipili continued with his re-examination. Ramasipili asked Ntanzi about the court appearance where he indicated to the court that he wanted to lay charges against Mjiyako. Then the presiding officer postponed the matter to the 2nd of February 2021, but before doing that, she indicated to you that the legal aid attorney provided to you in the regional court so that you can pursue whatever complaints that you had with Mr. Mjiyako. Now, this was what Ramasipili was placing to Ntanzi. And he said, now at the regional court in Tlhabane, because we don't have those records here, the court records, did you pursue this matter with whatever legal attorney that was allocated to you to proceed to complain and lay charges against Mr. Mjiyako? And Ntanzi said, I did not. I only said it at the time I was kicking him out, or rather terminating his mandate. But even now, as I'm standing before this court, I still have the wish to proceed. Ramasipili went on to the date of the 22nd of June 2020, and where he was taken to Tlhabane Magistrate Court in Rustenburg. He asked, did you appear physically in front of a magistrate, just like here in court? You are appearing in front of the learned justice, referring to Judge Ratamkhatleng. And Ntanzi said, no, I did not enter inside. They had cordoned it with a danger tape. Then Ramasipili said, in your testimony on that aspect, is that a prosecutor then came to the car in which you traveled in to confirm that indeed you were the person that Mohani brought to court with the documents accompanying you to court. And Ntanzi said, yes, Mohani came with him to the vehicle. And he says, I found out after a while that this person was a prosecutor with the continuation of the possession of ammunition in Rustenburg case, and Ntanzi said that it was a black person, an elderly gentleman. And Ntanzi said that he never spoke to him. The window was taken down to look at him inside the car. And then he continued to have a conversation with Mabena. He says, I did not hear what they were saying. And Ramasipili said on this next appearance, which was the 29th of June 2020, it is noted that the court is not working and that you were not brought to court because you were isolated due to an incident related to COVID. Do you recall that date? And Ntanzi said, yes, I hear, but I don't remember the dates and the days. Ramasipili then asked, but do you recall that at some stage you were isolated due to COVID that necessitated you not to be taken to court? And Ntanzi said, I do not recall a day when I was supposed to attend court, but Mohani said I should be taken to test for COVID, but I have never received the results. Okay, there's a bit of a glitch with the audio there, but it's quite interesting how he may have mixed up the dates or mixed up the situations. It's not that none of what he's saying never happened. It's just that he mixed up the dates. You understand? So it's not to take away from anything that he said so far, but this re-examination was just to clarify that it's not that the events didn't take place, because a lot of people are accusing him of being a liar and whatnot. It's to just say, like he said in his testimony and cross-examination, he doesn't remember the dates. He has the dates mixed up, but the events are still the same. You understand what I'm saying? Then Sipho Ramasipili now asked about the appearance of the 13th of July 2020 in Klabani. But before I go into that, what do you think about the making up, or rather him, Ntanzi, saying that on that court appearance where he didn't appear, it was communicated to the court that he was being isolated due to COVID, and he actually ended up not appearing?
Well, look, if this was I think they would include it on their heads of argument, because there's no proof that he was indeed
ever tested for it,
or
because
he was
saying
indeed sick or something like that. So I think it's one of the things that also should be seen as maybe one way of the state trying to sabotage the police, sabotaging these guys. You need to look at it like that.
To get bail.
Yes, you need to look at it like that. Why would you hide someone? And he's saying that I was never sick. And if you are sick, then produce the statement, that the certificate for such. And if you cannot produce it, then he was not sick. You understand? Like, it doesn't make sense. All the irregularities that were happening, extreme irregularities.
Yes.
And to top it all, they were not happening just with small people. We're talking about your magistrate, you're talking about your prosecutor, which then makes one wonder, isn't that the continuation of whatever that was happening? Because, I mean, I'm sure those people in NPA, they know Baloyi. Baloyi knows those people. So...
And when I revisit the dates, it was the 29th of June.
Yes.
And he had been made to confess, according to his version. He first had the first confession, which happened in the 19th, if I'm not mistaken. And then that other one that happened on the 24th of June. Now it's the court appearance on the 29th of June, and they are saying that he was isolated because he was having COVID and no appearance in the court in Klabani. That's like how many days after taking the confession? If he was assaulted and injured.
Yes, it would look like someone was hiding the fact that he's injured.
And if the Klabani court saw the injuries, what was going to happen today with the trial?
Yeah.
There would be some people who could testify that he appeared in court with swollen hands or bruises here.
There was always a contingency plan for me, if you ask me, for how they are going to cover up if what is said in court is true for everything. The fact that they kept him there, wherever they kept him, when he was supposed to be in court, it's another sign. And maybe it's even more closer to the truth that maybe indeed he was tortured.
And not to mention that also he was kept in isolation. He wasn't kept to like a normal person who gets arrested and you put in a cell with other cellmates. You know, he was isolated, put in solitary confinement, of which I feel that the defense needs to hammer on these issues, because that alone is torture. How can you be kept for several days in a single cell by yourself with nobody to talk to? That's also, in a sense, a form of torture, which they did not hammer on much while during the cross-examination. But with their arguments, they should really emphasize on these elements of torture that Ntanzi went through. As well as me.
Questions such as, when you were isolated, how were you feeling? How would you explain your mental state at the time when you... I was expecting such questions.
I was expecting such questions myself.
Where you create, you paint a certain picture. Obviously, the judge would object for some weird reason.
No, but let it be on the record.
But let it be on the record.
You're fighting for people's lives here. I find them too relaxed. I don't understand what's happening with this defense counsel. It's like they're all exhausted and tired, or they're just not motivated anymore to fight for these people. And I find it very strange, in my opinion. I find it very strange. I feel like they're too relaxed. But we'll see with the arguments what happens. Maybe they'll come back charged up. I don't know. Well, Sipho Ramasipili now asked about the appearance of the 13th of July 2020 in Klabani. And Ramasipili asked Mr. Mukhapaise, they are coming in from the side. I see that the gentleman more or less behind you has a document in his hand. Just check if he's correct. This was when he was going through the court records or the transcript of Klabani Court. And the prosecutor said, he said he is here for today, his first appearance. And the court asked, is it his first appearance? Ramasipili asked him, do you recall the date of the 13th of July 2020? According to the court, question and answer, that was your appearance in the Klabani court, your first appearance. And Ntanzi said, as I've already said, I don't remember the dates, but it could be as it is written down. Ramasipili then asked, what is of importance is that you did not meet Mr. Mjiyako that day. I want to clarify that. And Ntanzi said, another person stood up just as I was about to enter, and I was instructed to leave. Mjiyako did not even visit me in prison. This person was wearing a mask as well as sunglasses. I would not say that this person was representing me. Now, these are the Klabani court appearances which happened after the confession took place. And remember that Mjiyako was with Ntanzi during the confession with the magistrate on the 24th of June 2020. On the 13th of July, Ntanzi is painting this scenario where Mjiyako now, he's in court, right?
Yes.
Representing him. But he's saying, as I walk in, they're busy telling me I should leave now. I should leave. Right? And then he says, as he took a glance over there, there's a man in a suit and everything, but he's wearing glasses and a mask. So no one is telling him, this is your lawyer. He's not even indicating himself to Ntanzi that I'm your lawyer, or he's not. Ntanzi, the way he's painting it is as if he just walked in, looked at these people and quickly was told to leave, and no one was really explaining to him that this is the man who says that they are representing you. This is your lawyer. So the magistrate did not even ask me, he says, if I knew the person. Maybe if they did ask me, just before he could finish, Ramasipili said to him, did you give him instructions to represent you on the 13th of July at the Klabani Magistrate Court? And Ntanzi said, this, I still want to know who told him that I was there, because there was no contact between myself and him. Isn't that strange?
And perhaps what should be in that court is that letter of appointment.
Yes.
Signed by Ntanzi.
Yes.
Yes. That is missing. Because if it's not there, we can argue that this Mjiyako then was just put there as a pawn to act and facilitate whatever that was happening to Ntanzi.
Yes.
And that argument will be valid if there are no other proofs that prove that Ntanzi did sign whatever that he needs to sign. Now the problem with that is
the financial instruction.
The problem with that is that you can fabricate everything, but you can fabricate an original signature that is going to need a pen. How do you fabricate that? Because you can't go copy. We need the original one.
And here are certain glitches that might happen with that letter of appointment. He was going with a card written Mjiyako attorneys, right? He was saying that he's from a law firm called Mjiyako attorneys.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
But then a question is gonna come in: how do you have or work for Mjiyako attorneys? Maybe you are not the boss of Mjiyako attorneys. Maybe you are in.
But from what if you check that company, at some point he was a director.
It means it's his company. So
and then he added others coming in. Yes.
So if that's the case, how are you able to run this company and still hold on to your job in the government? That would be
That's a very good question as to how that happened.
Because we know government employees.
You cannot mix them.
You cannot have your own private company and work for the government at the same time, unless if they are special.
Unless if they are consulting to you.
Yes, unless if they are
consulting
to you.
And such a relationship should be specified as such.
Yes. But for you to run a whole legal firm and still keep on a very important job there at the Joburg municipality, and you are the SAPS captain at some point, his profile is written that he's a captain of the police.
This is where the problem starts, because if you look at the profile, something is not adding up. You understand?
Yes.
Not everything looks as... He's got a lot of things that he said there on that profile. And then now comparing with what he was said to have ventured on with Ntanzi and whatnot, then that leaves a lot of questions as to say, how did you do it? Did you have that allowance of practicing while you are holding a government office? It just doesn't make sense.
Too many questions we have. It's too many questions. And Ramasepile then asked him, when Mr. Mjiyako addressed the court in Rustenburg, he also said, we are prepared to apply for bail. Did you give Mr. Mjiyako instructions to apply for bail for you? And Ntanzi said that what I find is that I first heard this thing in court for the first time. I would have been happy to receive bail because I knew that I would go back to work, and I would have also appreciated that. So Ntanzi here is expressing how actually him getting bail was going to help him keep his job, you understand? Now he's in a very tricky situation where his job has ended. His job is gone. You understand?
Yeah.
And this person masquerading as his lawyer should have gotten him that bail, should have ensured that he gets that bail, but it seems like he made no efforts to get him that bail. So he says that if the magistrate wrote there on the record that he asked me if I really wanted bail, what is being said there, I don't know. Even this magistrate of Klabane Court, I mean, how can you not, before you start the proceedings, ensure that there is a relationship or that there's an agreement between the accused and whoever claims to be representing him? I thought that would be made clear. Put it on the record that I did ask that question in court. But somehow the records, they were not found, because I'm sure they would have been presented by the state. You understand? The state would have read that record if it was there, but it's not there in the Tlhabane Court magistrate. It would have strengthened the state's case. Then Ramasipile asked, did you ever consult with Mjiyako from the time of your arrest to the 13th of July? And Ntanzi said, this person never came to consult with me. Ramasipile then said, a letter of withdrawal was placed on record. Were you given that letter? And Ntanzi said, no, I only saw it for the first time here in court. So here he withdraws again. He claims to have been a representative for Mr. Ntanzi, but then he withdraws. In his withdrawal, he's withdrawing in court. He's not withdrawing with his client or his so-called client.
Yes.
There's no communication with his client to say, I will be withdrawing. Isn't that what lawyers do? You are the one, the client, that's told first that I'm withdrawing from your case before the court finds out. And even when the court finds out, it's not, the whole letter is not read into the record. It's very strange.
That the whole letter
had to be recorded, to be read into the record.
We have seen lawyers withdrawing.
Yes.
All they come
it's a simple
to court.
sentence.
All they come to court to do is to give the court the courtesy and say we are withdrawing as lawyers of so and so. If they already met the new defense, they introduce that defense and say lawyers so and so or attorney so and so will take over, my lord. But I would like to withdraw. Now, all these stories that were read there in court, it's like it's copy and paste of trying to make it visible that there was ever a lawyer, and also the damage that this lawyer has, in my own opinion, done. It's so big. By the time they were leaving, and if you notice, it's the time media was gaining momentum now in covering this case. Remember, they applied to be part of this case, and then right about that time, then the withdrawal happened.
Well, Ramasipile asked, did he come to you at the police station to tell you that he's withdrawing from representing you? And Ntanzi said, no, he never came. I am the one who fired or terminated his mandate. And Ramasipile then said, on the 20th of August 2020, did you give the instruction to abandon bail? Well, Jonas was flipping through the record here instead of translating. I don't know how many of you guys picked it up. He wanted to see for himself the record that Ramasipile was reading from instead of translating.
Yeah.
And I found that very troubling. I get that he wants to see the record, but here that hardly...
His job is to interpret.
His job is to interpret, right?
Yes. What is being put on the record?
Well, he went to the record, and it seems like he wanted to translate directly from the record instead of translating what Mr. Ramasipile was saying.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Then Ramasipile continued to read the court records when Mjiyako came on record and told the court that Ntanzi opted to abandon bail. So Ramasipile ended up taking it upon himself to read the record because of what Jonas was doing. It seems like Jonas thought that maybe Ramasipile is lying. I don't know Jonas Bengenelein. But then Ramasipile did do it. And Ntanzi said, no, I never spoke to him, Mjiyako. I would have appreciated being released and going back to work. Ramasipile then asked, did you personally give Mjiyako financial instructions? Ntanzi said no. So here we are hearing Ntanzi saying, I never paid that man. The state has Ntanzi's bank records, the one that have no transactions after he got paid for some weird reason. They do have them. I'm sure if Ntanzi had paid Mjiyako, they would know.
They would know. And they would use that.
And they would use it to their advantage. Ramasipili then asked, did you sign any power of attorney or general power of attorney appointing Mr. Mjiyako to take care of your legal problems as your lawyer to advise you? And Ntanzi said, there is no letter I signed from the 24th when I first saw him. There is no letter he gave me because he said he will get back to me. Even now, I'm still waiting. So Ramasipili asked, after the withdrawal letter that was read yesterday was served on the DPP or the NPA, did Mjiyako Attorneys Incorporate or Mr. Mjiyako himself issue a letter of demand for the legal fees that they say you owe them? And Ntanzi said, no, there is none. So he didn't even bother to pursue his payment. You know, you can't owe a lawyer. You can't owe a lawyer money.
Even other courts would even ask you, have you been compensated as a lawyer?
Yes, they do ask other courts.
Because it's their duty to make sure that you are representing someone that has compensated you.
Well,
Ngapai, thank you.
Thank you. And Ramasipili now turned to the ammunition discovered in Ntanzi's house. After discovering the ammunition, they said they detained you at Phokeng cells. And Ntanzi said, I never entered the cells in Phokeng. I was sitting in the car. I don't even know what they look like. So this is the incident that he was talking about, that he confused it prior under cross-examination with Sibanda to be another court appearance instead of this one. So this one was the second one. And under cross-examination with Sibanda, he had said that it was the first one. So, and Ramasipili then said, you testified that the notice of rights, the SAP 14A, was brought to you while you were sitting in the vehicle and you signed it. Is that your testimony? And Ntanzi said, yes. Sergeant Mohani brought it, my lord. And I also saw some people complaining that Ramasipili was repeating questions, but that's not how I felt. I felt like he was providing clarity.
People are just sometimes amazing. Because when Ntanzi was perjuring this man for negativity, if you ask me, no one said anything. It is right. He's trying to verify. He's trying to make sure that evidence is... No, we are testing evidence. It is important to also take it out the same way it was put in. The manner in which the dent was created was repetitive style.
Yes.
And be bully, if you ask me.
Yes.
Bully ways, bullying, and there was a lot of things that were
Ambush
happening.
Tactics.
Ambush tactics,
Questions.
snippet ways of asking. Whatever that you asked and it was wrong, it was corrected down there on the record. You asked the wrong part of it. It is part of what we saw in that court when Sibanda was dealing with these people. So to get clarity and also the fact that Ntanzi sometimes I actually think in his mind he would assume he answered the question by explaining what could have transpired after that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Like, let's make an example. The question says, did you give mandate to Mjiyako?
Yes.
And then he comes and answers that question by asking a question, I would like to know who actually appointed that man.
Yes.
The real answer there and the correct one is no.
No.
But now you have to read between the lines in his answers. So sometimes a person who answers like that requires you to actually ask questions and probe them and ask them to be on record the way you want them to be.
Well, Ramasipili then said another aspect came up, which is two officers, Mr. Mulife and Mr. Ramacha, said you were examined in the cells and they noted that you have no injuries. Well, Sibanda objected to this and says, but it does not say he was examined. Funny how a dentist examined. They're saying that those two police officers who were making the entries on the occurrence books never examined Ntanzi. They just looked at him walk in and walk out, and they said, no injuries, no injuries, no injuries. Which are the same that were introduced later on. Like they were introduced, was it the day before the Friday project? Was it on Thursday?
Yes, it was later on. Whereas the names haven't been given for a long time, but later on, we have the names of people who are signing OB.
We'll get back to that later. Well, Sibanda objected and said that it does not say that he was examined. It's just an entry which says no injuries. Ramasipili said Baloyi had just whispered to him that it was an entry saying that they conducted cell visits and that notation was made. Already I'm getting the vibe that the state just gave them these names. They didn't look at the original OB entries, and this is my opinion. I feel that the defense did not even see the original OB entries where this Mr. Molefe and Rama just signed or initialed or put it on a stamp that they are the ones who made those entries. So this was just some kind of word of mouth evidence from the state, in my opinion.
Yes.
So Ramasipili restructured his question and asked Ntanzi, do you recall at any stage, whether in the car or in the cell, Sergeant Molefe and Ramacha coming to you and noting that you've got no visible injuries in your person? And Ntanzi said there is no police officer that came to me except for Mohani, who was with me, who made me sign a paper, and then we left after that. So Ramasipili said, according to the entry at Pretoria North Police Station, where from Rustenburg, you were detained from the 16th of June 2020, it says that you were detained and booked under the Nongoma case 163 of 10/2020. The Nongoma case that had a conviction in 2018 or 19, if I'm not mistaken, with a guilty verdict and a conviction of Qaniselani Buthelezi, right? It was then reopened under a new case of 163 of 10 of 2020. This was in October of 2020 after Ntanzi was arrested and just before they went to the Boksburg Magistrate Court. And they said they were arresting him for the Nongoma case when they testified.
They did.
I'm so confused.
So the case that Ntanzi appeared in court for was the Nongoma case.
Yes.
But by the time Ntanzi appeared in that case, he was long arrested. Is that what you're saying? He was long detained.
Yes.
And there is no record of anything else that he appeared for.
No.
Because
it's the ammunition one. The one where they found the bullets in the black plastic bag.
Even that, when that lapsed, does the 48-hour rule then start counting from that lapsing to the next one, which is, I guess, Nongoma
really
case.
Counted the days because I don't know the day when it was opened, because here it says the case is October of 2020, the Nongoma one.
That's the first appearance.
The case, Mr. Anonymous, was opened in October of 2020.
So what kept Ntanzi in prison then is ammunition and...
But when they testified, Umukhola and Umukhani, they said that they were looking for him for the Nongoma case.
Yes.
And his initial arrest. Keta wena, what do you believe? Choose what you believe. Do you believe in Ntanzi or do you believe Mukhola and Mukhani? Because they said in a court of law on that witness box that the original case that they were arresting Ntanzi for was the Nongoma case. They arrested him in June 16, 2020. But the Nongoma case was opened on October of 2020. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So Ntanzi even said, even now, I'm still saying that I was never arrested for the case of Nongoma. When I was arrested for the case before this court. And I believe this. This I believe.
Yeah, I also believe this.
Because, explain that. I had no idea that the Nongoma case said October of 2020. When I caught it, I was like, wow. These people testified that they were looking for Ntanzi in
Look at
relation
how
to
the
the
testimony
Nongoma case.
of Ginindi is. It says there are many other cases. You understand? Which, in any case, if you look at how... And Mngomezi was trying to follow this thing.
Yes, and they blocked him.
And they blocked him.
And also, isn't it interesting how it was opened in October of 2020? And this was around the time Ntanzi was now being difficult. One would consider difficult in a sense that now he was noticing, who's this Mjiyako? I don't want this Mjiyako. Why is he forcing me to confess to something I didn't do? And that's my speculation. Okay, that's my speculation to see that October was when Ntanzi woke up, in my opinion. And then Hwahla, Nongoma case.
If you ask me, this case, it's dead. But what it requires is just a simple, proper structuring of the information provided by our lawyer to you. Just structure it properly, have an order and a sequence. Because you might think that you are defending something word to defend. If you look at all these things that we are just sitting here, we don't have to docket, we don't have anything.
No, we don't have any of this information. We're working
if
with
you
what
have
we're
time
hearing
and if we were to be given this, I'm not a lawyer, but I can promise you we'll kill this thing. Because we are using the public information that is being given to us or coming to us in drips and drops, as Nisu would say.
Yes.
Using that, we are able to pick gaps. So it just requires a proper team of lawyers that would sit down and have juniors draw a map of this case, create loopholes, and put them aside so that we use them when we need them.
Follow the paper trail.
Because you don't believe that with the dockets that is this thick, these two lawyers will be able to actually go through all these
By
things properly
themselves, no.
and still remember.
No, you need like an army to help you out. And the army that knows exactly what to look for.
Because if they were working in cohesion, they were going to divide this case and say, take this part, take this part, take this part. Let us come together and rehearse. What did you find? Where did you find the loophole?
And asked, do you remember them coming to check whether you were injured? These police officers who made the entries on the OBs or the occurrence books. Ntanzi said nobody checked on him. And Ramasipili turned to the detention in Pretoria North for Nongoma murder case. Ntanzi then said, I was never arrested for a Nongoma case. I was arrested for this matter that I'm in for. And Ramasipili asked, what was the allegation leveled against you when they arrested you on the 16th of June 2020? Ntanzi said they were referring to this matter before court. Ntanzi saying, when I was arrested on the 16th of June 2020, they said to me they are arresting me for this case. Now, because of this, I even believe that a phone call happened prior when Mukula was saying, we are looking for you in regards to this matter. We want to offer you employment, blah, 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 all of that. I believe that phone call happened. And the reason why I believe that phone call happened is because they were able to find his exact location and get him there. Now, what purpose did that phone call serve? Perhaps, in my speculation...
Because if you ask me, I don't think Zungu knows properly this guy. Zungu doesn't know much about these guys, in my own opinion. So I don't think Zungu is the one who gave the direction.
No.
I don't think some of them have even met Zungu, by the way.
No.
But unfortunately, in that record, it is put as such.
But Zungu never testified to meeting Ntanzi. he talked about Spear a lot. And in my opinion, that phone call, the purpose it served was to track Ntanzi.
Yes.
In my opinion.
That's the intelligence that they were talking about. They use their intelligence to find these people. That's exactly what I think happened.
Well, then Ntanzi said that they were referring to this matter before court, and Ramasipili asked him, has the investigation officer, Mohani, of the Nongoma case booked you out for interrogation? And Ntanzi said, no, my lord. So Ramasipili then asked, have you appeared in court for the Nongoma case after it was not placed on the roll in Vosloorus? And Ntanzi said, no. Then Ramasipili asked him, after the prosecutor in Vosloorus declined to place this Nongoma case on the roll on the 19th of June 2020, have you subsequently appeared in court in Nongoma regarding this matter? And Ntanzi said no. And Ramasipili asked him, do you know anyone who has appeared in that Nongoma matter? And Ntanzi said, I don't know them. That's the answer I can give. If someone were to ask me where is Nongoma or Ingoma cultural dances, is that I would answer. The case matters, I don't know anything. He says, mina lapho kushawa ingoma khona, you'll find me there. But as for these cases, I have nothing to do with them. Well, then Ramasipili then asked him, at the Pretoria North on the 17th of June 2020 in the boardroom, were you questioned about this Nongoma case? And Ntanzi said, no, I only heard that I had a Nongoma case for the first time here in court. So Ramasipili turned to the 18th of June where threats were made by Gininda, and Ramasipili said, you have testified about Gininda threatening you at Carltonville. It was put to you that you were patching up your testimony regarding that aspect and that it never happened. And Ntanzi said, I disagree with what the prosecutor was saying. And Ramasipili asked him, did you say anything to Gininda on that day that he felt were tantamount to a confession? And Ntanzi said, I said nothing except that he was making threats towards me. Ramasipili asked him, did you say you wanted to make a confession to an independent officer? Sibanda objected and said that the witness is being led afresh. The judge said that he hears Sibanda. And Ramasipili said that he was taken by the prosecutor through this. He doesn't understand the basis of that objection. But then he said, let me rephrase it. The judge said Mr. Sibanda should explain to Ramasipili, imagine, what leading the witness means. Sibanda must explain to Ramasipili what leading the witness means.
They are always correct.
And Ramasipili said that he understands it, and what he's saying, he doesn't understand the basis of his objection. Well, Ramasipili changed his question either way because, he doesn't like to argue, which is why I feel so disappointed in them not being a little bit more when it comes to objecting and all of that stuff. And even that point Mnisi was raising, I felt like they should have supported it more. It's because
they should.
If Ramasipili, on a simple objection, he has no stamina to argue, then what does his arguments look like? Because arguments,
I think Mngomezulu is going to have to facilitate those arguments.
Yes. Because Ramasipili has no appetite.
But Mngomezulu is acting like now, of lately, is acting like someone who's
defeated.
Who's not getting paid.
Who's not getting paid.
He's got a bit of distance that I'm seeing in the case.
That's interesting. Ramasipili changed his question and he asked it like this. According to the evidence, once you made utterances that tantamount to a confession, did you tell Gininda that you don't have a problem with making a statement to an independent officer? And Ntanzi said no. Ramasipili then asked, it was further put to you in cross-examination that Gininda stated that he spoke to you privately when that conversation happened. Did you at any stage have a private moment with Gininda away from the officers? And Ntanzi said no, they were close by. There has never been a private conversation. So he's saying that these police officers were there looking at Gininda, kind of threatening him, allegedly. So Ramasipili then said it was put to you that you were fabricating the allegations of assault on the 18th of June 2020. What is your comment? And Ntanzi said, I'm talking of something that exists and of what happened to me. That is not true. Ramasipili then asked him, it was also put to you that the Fortuna never went to a dumping site on the 18th of June 2020. And Ntanzi said, I believe that is the vehicle I was traveling in. And Ramasipili then asked him, it was put to you that the Toyota Fortuna never went to a place with a board written Orlando. And Ntanzi said, I did see the board. I was traveling in that car to many places. Colonel Rapadu said in his reply, when he was completing the form, you stated to him that you do not have a problem. You are willing to make a statement freely and voluntarily to him. Did you say that to Colonel Rapadu? And Ntanzi maintained that he never made a statement to Colonel Rapadu. He said if he made that statement in his own free will, it would have been written in isiZulu. Regarding the document that you signed at the magistrate in Boksburg on the 24th of June 2020, did you sign that document voluntarily and freely? Ntanzi said, I was signing for my request to make a call and to get toiletries. I didn't know that I would receive the phone call. I was not even given that phone call or toiletries to bath. So I think I have narrated this whole incident to the best of my ability, where Ntanzi is trying to explain what actually happened with that second confession with the magistrate. I think I've tried to paint a picture of his version, where he was saying that Magistrate Kunye was getting up and down, looking at her laptop, writing down. And as soon as he walked in, although they spent 3 hours in there, he's saying that as I walked in there, I told that lady, the interpreter, that I need to bath. I need to make a phone call to my family. You understand? And then it was all quiet according to Ntanzi's version. I'm not saying that it is true. I'm just saying according to his version, that's how he put it, that I was sitting there, Miss Grenier was writing down, feeling whatever she was feeling in, going up to go and look at the other lady of no color on the passage and talk to her, and then come back and sit down. And then Mohani, at the beginning of the confession, he was also in and out of that room, and then eventually he never came back. And then as he was about to sign that document, the lady interpreter told Ntanzi that now sign here so that you can get your bath and the phone call that you wanted. And then he signed because he thought, I'm under the impression that I'm going to get that phone call that I asked for and the bath. He didn't read what he was signing. Or perhaps, I've heard of tricks that some lawyers, some shady lawyers do to people. There's a artist who was testifying, not really testifying, but telling her story on social media about how she was robbed. She's saying that the document that they gave to her to sign was only 14 pages. Turns out the original document, the real document, was over 100 pages long, but they only gave her 14 pages to sign. So all these other conditions of ripping her off happened in those 100 and something thousand documents and pages, and then she only signed 14 pages. So, in my opinion, looking at that situation, they gave her only those documents where she needed her signature to be amended. And initials, obvious. Anyone can just write your initials on your behalf. Initials are not that complicated. So with Ntanzi's situation, he's saying that I was given this document to sign so that I get a phone call and a letter. And I'm painting another picture to say, what if they didn't give him the entire confession to look at? They only gave him the page where he needed to sign.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. They only showed him that page where they needed to sign, and the translator was like, here's it, Baba, to get your bath and your phone call, just sign here. In my opinion, in my imagination, in my way of thinking, you know. So Ramasipili then said, regarding the events of the 24th of June 2020, after the events with the magistrate, where were you taken? And to the industrial site, it was put to you that the events of the industrial site, where you were forced to initial those BS, the BS stands for Bongani Sandiso, and blood spilled on some of the pages on that document, it's a fabrication. And Ntanzi said, I was being forced to sign, not according to my own free will. Now, Ntanzi is still confusing, which is what I found Ramasipili needed to make it clear. Because Ntanzi already said under cross-examination that I was actually initialing. So he's confusing signing with putting initials. And Ramasipili fell short here. He should have made sure that Ntanzi understands the distinction to say that did you sign or did you initial? You understand? Then Ramasipili then said it was put to you that the 3 million deal was a lie. And Ntanzi said the state that says it was a blatant lie, it is the state. They were not there. I'm talking about what happened. Then Ramasipili said, regarding the people that were there, regarding the alleged assault. Now, in my opinion, I was upset at this. I was like, you are representing this client. Why are you calling what happened to them an alleged assault? You should put it that it was an assault. You are giving vibes of not believing his version. Why is he saying an alleged?
Yeah, it was an amateur mistake.
No, you must say assault. It's your client's truth. You are representing them.
And you own it.
Yes.
You must own that
Don't say alleged assault as if now you
as
also
if you are casting
don't believe.
doubts. You are casting doubts.
And torture and abuse. A question was put to you yesterday. A question was put to you whether amongst those people, perhaps even extended to the magistrate in Rustenburg. What is your response to that today? Well, Ntanzi said that in Rustenburg, if he got a chance to speak, he was going to raise his hand. He said, I would not be taken to where there were other prisoners. I used another entrance, and not the entrance for the accused. Now you know where they are coming from, the cells of the court. The
underground.
He's saying that did not happen on this first appearance in Rustenburg. He's saying that they used some other back door, not the one used by the accused. And he says, when I entered the courtroom, someone told me to stand up and leave. With regards to the police, what I would say is yes, all the police work together. Whom I don't know is the white lady and where she works, meaning Magistrate Grenier. Because even now, I don't know where she works. So Ramasipili then said certain discrepancies were put to you that you did not tell or confront the magistrate regarding the leg irons. You did not show Colonel Rapadu the bloody t-shirt and the bloody vest. And Ntanzi said, firstly, I will respond regarding Mr. Rapadu. How was I going to show him while he was there when I was getting assaulted? Then I'll again go to the magistrate. My answer with even here, I pointed out that the magistrate wrote what I was wearing, but she did not take the shoes down or note down the shoes that I was wearing. To show that there is nothing she asked me. She saw half of me because she was sitting on the other side of the table.
Yes.
She could only see the upper part of my body. So Ramasipili then asked him, these events that you testified about from last week, Thursday, up until now, happened from the 16th of June 2020 until you testified in court. Were you writing certain questions that you should put or remind your counsel as he asking you questions like we do here, as we remind ourselves with notes? And Ntanzi said, no, I did not carry a pen and a paper, which is true. I mean, had he had a pen and a paper? He can recall all of this from his mind. So Ramasipili then asked him, those events happened in June of 2020, some 3 years ago. How is your memory now of those events compared to when they happened on the 16th of June 2020? And Ntanzi said, some of it I remember a majority of because it is sitting in my heart. I don't abuse anyone, and I don't want anyone who's going to abuse me in this world. And the way he keeps talking about being heartbroken, Mr. Anonymous. I saw someone comment, and I have the same question. What if that is what he said to the magistrate and the doctor, and then they decided to give him a heart condition? Maybe he was trying to communicate to them that my heart is broken. Because I'm being abused, I'm being tortured. And because, for whatever reason, they just decided to ignore him and say he has a heart condition.
You've got something there. You're saying something. It could have been that, or it could have been something more. But definitely for sure, those certificates, medical certificates or dentist report, it's not coming from Ntanzi's workplace. No.
Oh, no. There's a caller who called. Yes, Mr. Anonymous. And they were saying that, oh, maybe they took the... No.
No. Those are private doctors that are requested by the companies.
Yes, in the mines.
And
they usually have their own
usually
facilities.
they have to adhere to rules.
Yes. They
Not
can't
unless you're suggesting that also the company was in on it.
Yes, unless if your Impala Mines was in on it too, which I highly doubt. I mean, no. And on top of that, in the mines, there's the specific hospitals
yes,
that
you
they
might argue that
medicals.
individuals that come from that mine some of them have been convinced to such an extent that one can actually look at the mistake that one can look at and say maybe it was a deliberate mistake that initially it was said to be that Ntanzi was missing from work. From the HR point of view, it had a huge dent in terms of allowing Ntanzi a bail and anything else that was supposed to happen after that. Then it came after that to correct that. So some of the things were done, in my opinion, deliberately. Even if you correct them, the damage has been made.
Yes.
That they were done for. Let us like the video, share the video. We have 500 people, 274 likes. Can you push it to 300? And for those who are on television, please find a way of liking. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you're wondering how people are on the chat comments and chat site and chatting, commenting, it's because they are subscribers. If you do so, you will also have that access. And that's it. And thank you for those who are donating, and thank you for those who are joining membership. We recognize you.
And that file also belongs to the company. It doesn't belong to the government. That dentist comes from a public hospital that belongs under the government. So it is not really make sure of how he would access it, in my opinion. Or maybe it's the investigative officers who did, but still there were due processes that we needed to be followed, which is why Ntanzi in his cross-examination kept emphasizing that if you fetch my file from where I work, do you understand what I'm saying? Because he knows that there's a process that he will have to follow to get access to his medical from his workplace.
Yes.
It's not going to be straightforward. It's going to be a process. And then they will find the truth, whether he had the heart condition or not. But the state is unwilling on that. They just had a questionnaire from a dentist. So Ramasipili then asked him, you were confronted about a heart problem.
And just to ask, to add more, you are right in saying that the work that the defense has done is minimal. And perhaps it left a lot of loopholes. Like the issue of medical examination.
Exactly.
To debunk that that Ntanzi
Ever
feels strongly against that he had any heart
A heart
condition.
attack.
You could have done a medical test, or actually went to
Pulled
ask
the ones
Yeah,
from Impala
Impala.
and Sibanye still
Eh,
water mine
and then say, where is this heart condition?
because it's not on these files that we have.
Yes.
He goes for medical every 6 months.
Mm.
Not once has there ever been mention of a heart condition. Where did you get it from? From the time Grunier testified. Miss Grunier, where did you get this from? Who else? The dentist, Tlokwe. Where did you get this from?
Do you understand? To debunk, by the time that dentist was coming, they were supposed to have done the pulling of the medical report of Ntanzi and compare. Give this dentist to read that which you have pulled or new one that you have done and say, let us do this.
Yeah, I'm not sure the defense.
Yes, one can argue that they don't have money, but this is where the love
But
of
does
what
it cost money to ask for medical records of your client?
this is where the love also of what you are doing is important, because it's not only about you getting money. And,
Guys,
and
it costs money to say to the company, your former employee here is under serious disrepute. Can we please have their medical? There's an application process that may need to happen. Guys, are you telling me that's going to cost money?
I can tell you now, for those who think that this medical report comes from the company, use your common sense. And here is where you have to use your common sense. It will be against the rules of the company, and also of the in terms of public health.
Yes.
Those rules that are there,
Yes,
they are not just coming
regulation.
from the company. They are coming
Yes.
from also the government side.
Yes.
So for them to tell on themselves, we hired a person who had a heart condition and we put him underground, that on its own
It's trouble
is trouble.
for the
So
company.
that's why, if you think and you use your sense, it is impossible for the company to have given that information
Yes.
of such.
No, it's highly unlikely
It's highly unlikely.
in this situation. So Ramasepele then asked him, you were confronted about a heart problem mentioned by Dr. Tlokwe and the magistrate. Did you tell them? And Ntanzi said, I did say it was a big lie. Big lie. Huge. No mining company would allow me to work there with a heart condition. And I agree with this. Totally agree. So after the tea adjournment, Ramasepele said that they do not have any witnesses for the testimony for accused number 2. And I was disappointed with this. Mr. Anonymous, I was disappointed that the defense did not have any witnesses. I was hoping that somebody would come and say something. I was very underwhelmed with this. I don't want to lie. I was disappointed.
It's like we want to close this. We are done with this.
We want to close it. And anyone who can back up these allegations would have really, really, really been handy for the defense. But there was no one.
And there's a family, there's a dad there who was speaking on that person was never fetched.
The family, for example, to say that when the police arrived, they searched, they flipped everything upside down in our home, and they were not telling us what they were looking for.
They didn't
They
have search
slapped
warrant.
me, did something to say that actually we were harassed by the police. They didn't even have a warrant. They just came into our home and they started flipping everything upside down. They were looking for a picture of dreads. Wait, what? I don't know, guys. I'm starting to feel frustrated with this defense. Maybe something is happening in the background that we're not aware of. I just feel like they're not giving their best.
It's crazy for them to wait for the main trial and say we'll bring people. But you could have collapsed this case.
You could have collapsed it right now and stopped
know,
it from carrying on and on. Or unless if you want to get paid or something, you are looking
Do
for.
you understand?
I don't get it. I don't get it. But you still have another one where if this case really falls apart, you can still sue the state on their behalf or something for them to get paid for being abused. Allegedly. But I'm not feeling the fire. I'm not feeling.
See, just to say something, a person who was ready for this trial within a trial is in jail.
Yes.
Person who has been calling for this trial within a trial is in jail.
Unfortunately.
And that person is a person who would have cracked this case.
It would have stopped here.
It would have been collapsed by you know it was gonna collapse.
Yeah, we weren't even gonna reach this trial within a trial,
Yes.
in my opinion.
So if you ask me, the move for him to go to where he is now, I think it was one of the best that they've put. But allegedly, we will leave it at that.
Let's leave it at that.
Yes.
Before we're called conspiracy theorists. The defense closed its case. The next phase of the trial within the trial is arguments, and Munisi said that the OB entries, the content has already been read into the record by Brigadier Gininda and Sergeant Mohola and Sergeant Mohani to try and dispel a notion at the end of it all that by virtue of the fact that the defense did not object to them when they were read into the record, when it could be argued in a way that our conduct would mean that we tacitly admitted or agreed or consented to the correctness of the contents thereof. So the defense would like to put it categorically clear that as much as they were read into the record, the correctness of the contents thereof is still in dispute. He said, we do not admit to the correctness of the contents of the OB entries as were read into the record. Just to give a proper...
Tell me something. The fight here between the judge and the minister. Why does a judge fight? Because it is also his duty to make sure that for any evidence that is introduced that requires a trial within a trial, it is done so.
Yes.
So, since when do we assume that since things are there in court and are read on record, therefore that's an admission of that the correctness and all that?
That's why he kept saying, I will allow it. I will allow it, even though it's unusual. I will allow it because this point that Nisi was raising.
It's true. The fact that they were read, it does not necessarily mean that they are correct.
Yes.
We
And
admit that they are there.
the defense has a right to dispute
When did they admit to correctness of that? The same way as they are dealing with the confessions, these were supposed to be dealt the same way.
those OB entries.
Those OB entries, yes.
Well, he said that the state approached the defense on numerous occasions, requesting the defense to admit to the correctness of the contents. This is what Advocate Balo is doing in the background. He's approaching them via the, background to say that those OB entries, please, they are correct. Just admit that they are correct. So Munisi stands up in court to say, we do not do that.
Which law says that if something is read on record and it's given the way it is on the paper, then you are admitting that that thing is correct? If the judge has not taken a position, why is he fighting that notion?
Very interesting question, Mr. Anonymous.
Why is he
Why
fighting
is
that
he
notion
fighting?
that this is not this is not us saying that we are admitting that these OBs are actually correct. We just are saying we see them and we have read them.
Yes.
But to say that we have said that they are correct,
That's not
that
true.
cannot be true.
Yes.
And if the judge has not taken a certain position, why is he feeling as if that is something big?
Right? And usually when he does this, there's something there, guys. We've been telling you. There's something there. If he's so passionate about stopping something from happening, there's something there. Read the room. It's just that I'm disappointed with Mgome Zulu and Ramasepele for not reading the room and actually backing Nisi up on this. It was strange. It was strange. They were giving very much their sleeping vibes. You understand? Balele. What is going on?
I think I'm indifferent when it comes to what you are thinking about admitting or reopening
Yes.
this trial in a trial, considering the fact that
No, the judge is the one who took it there. But had they backed Nisi to
yes,
to
the
the
judge was
argument.
gonna say let's open it.
No, there was no need for it to be opened. It just needed to be placed on the record that we are
Did you hear
not
what he said?
admitting to the correctness of
Did
this.
you hear what he said?
I heard what he said.
What did he say?
He said that he wanted some kind of application to be done.
What law is this?
I don't know.
He said, what law is this? Give me the law so that when I make the judgment.
Then they need to look for that law.
Ngome
sure
Zulu
it's there.
simple said that, okay, we will deal with this on our arguments, and which I agree, because that does not give anyone a chance to go fetch any Tom, Dick and Harry to come and be that police that signed the OB. Do you understand? We have went through that direction. You are not going to succeed. Anyone can be. Who are the police?
Ramacha and Molefe.
You'd find that they exist or they don't
Or
exist,
Molefe.
allegedly. So it's okay. It's okay.
They don't have any first names. They
yeah,
just have
yeah,
surnames.
it's okay. You can argue that. When you're arguing it, there won't be a need for you to call these people.
Okay. Okay, I see your point.
Because if you say, let us reopen it, these people will come and say things such as, we examined these people, we looked at them
They
as
have
they
no
were coming in,
injuries,
there are
my
no
lord.
injuries. Do you understand?
And how sure are we that they were the actual ones who are alleged to have been making those entries? It could be the ones that just pop up, like these names popped out at the end. Originally, when these OB entries were submitted, they had nobody who written them. In fact, Mohani went on to testify
was an
himself
author.
that he's the one who filled in the OB entries. Now it has changed. There were other after the judge explained the process of how OB entries worked, now they have police officers of the stations who are taking ownership that we have filled them in. And why is it only 2 of them? Police work in shifts. Nama shift.
So
Ngene
my
ekuseni,
worry
ngene
is that this case has a way of bringing people, and you must also look at that. You don't want people who are going to come to your stand and say, yes, we saw this guy, yes, you understand?
He had no injuries.
You don't. You already have many.
So what they will need to do in their arguments, in my opinion, is hammer on the elements of torture, your lack of sleep, your whole solitary confinement, your whole being booked out for many hours, and use the AVL. The AVL has everything they need, especially when it comes to Ntanzi's relation of events, and also pull certain things to say that it is untrue to say that this car did not stop here when there's no movement for a good 36 minutes at the engine garage. So it's complete, crafted like that.
Their line of defense should be that at first, Mohan refused and debunked that there was ever a stop.
Yes.
Meaning Mohane is not to be trusted as a
Witness.
As a witness.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And then they should also take it further to say that if Mohane refused such a big moment of a car standing there, which even AVL proves that there was such a stop, what more can Mohane hide? And the rest of the police. Does it mean that we should trust those people? Should we say that is the evidence that we can rely on to take this case further? These are people who have two stories about what happened there. Then the question, my lord, should be that what is it that you needed to hide? If you really indeed had an engine problem or a mechanical problem, what is it that stopped you, in fact, made you to even say that our client was lying, that there was such a stop, if it was just a mechanical issue that required an attention? And you never brought anything to support your theory to say that there was such, because you claim that you used an external mechanic.
Yes.
What is the process that was supposed to be followed there? And if you have that process, present it and say these people are not to be trusted. The theory of them going to our client's house are totally different. They are speaking in different tongues.
Yes. Yes.
We would take it as further as saying that even the ammunition that was therefore through this theory that is different. Someone said they went to change because of 1, 2, 3. Others are saying they went to check the address and whatnot.
Another thing I can pick up also from my head is Ntanzi testifying that I would sit in the car and Mokhane would go in, come back with the keys, open the cell for me. In the morning, same thing. It was opened by him. Mokhane even testified himself that there was an incident where he could not wait for somebody to come and give him the keys. He went and collected those keys himself and came and opened for Mr. Ntanzi's cell for him to go there and make his confession. He was in such a matter of urgency that he couldn't wait for the person who does the OBs to open. He even knew where the keys were. So what would stop him from all those other occasions to just go where the key is and not even canvass this with the person who's supposed to fill in those entry books? And then on top of that, how certain are we that these people that are mentioned were even there to begin with? It's not like we have their handwritings tested or anything to prove that indeed it is their handwriting.
No, the AVL to say that it does support the state's theory.
Where does that come
No,
from?
it's that issue of Soweto.
Or GPS unlocked.
Of
They
Soweto.
use GPS unlocked to
So it does not support
no,
the
it
state.
does not.
You know, Ntanzi has said, I do not know Joburg that much.
Yes.
So some of the things that he could have said, they could be attached to that. The fact that he's been very
Story.
clear
I
to say
stopped
that
at Barakwana.
I do not know much about Joburg. I was reading.
Yes, bots and stuff.
So
And
to
he
say
didn't
that
even
it
know
does
that was
support the
Barakwana.
theory,
He knew that it was a hospital.
to say that that was a theory that it could put Ntanzi under the bus, no, there is no way. Ntanzi never said that I never stopped at an engine garage in a certain place. Does never said that.
No.
So, a person who said that and later changed because of AVL
It's Mohani.
is Mohani. So, the question is, the time that it took for that car standing, it was not 10 minutes. It was
36.
hours.
It was 36 minutes and above.
In fact, it was more than that. It was more than that, wasn't it?
Oh, it was over an hour.
Yes,
Or so.
because they went to put Ntanzi in cells in the morning.
Yes, in the early morning hours.
Yes. So they tried to make it, to cut it and say the car was standing on what and what.
But now they were including a mechanic. They had to wait for a mechanic.
Yes.
And
yes.
whatnot.
So
trying to start it.
Ntanzi's
whatever.
theory, even the line of questioning with Seban, they must hammer on that to say that you were saying. In fact, they must bring that theory that the Soweto, the what is it? The
You were
Orlando
saying
board.
that the Orlando board. Yeah.
You said that our client was lying because of the Orlando board or the AVL not showing that. But what about the person who first refused that he ever stopped?
Yes.
And later on, we find out hours were spent while this person was standing there.
And to go back to the definition of that GPS unlock, because the state is using it to their advantage to say that there was never a stop. Well, bring back the definition of that GPS unlock to say that it does not make sense why this GPS unlocked, there's no movement for 10 minutes. The only time we record a movement away from the bridge is this amount of time. So there was a stationary there. Just because you're going to want to use this GPS unlock to support your narrative that there was no movement, the time slots do not support your theory. It doesn't take 10 minutes to move less than a meter. It shouldn't take 10 minutes. Do you understand what I'm saying? And
Yes.
then use also the fact that we requested from this AVL expert the GPS coordinates. Remember? The state never provided them. The state did not opt for us to use the coordinates because they knew that the coordinates are going to place these people exactly when Ntanzi was saying they were going to be. And they were. So that's about it. They need to argue their asses off. Sorry for my language, but they need to argue like their life depends on it.
Yeah, they need to argue. I for one, I would tell you, I do not want to go to the main trial.
Me too.
Not because I know that some of you might think, hey, there is money there, obviously. If it continues, we will work on it. But all I'm saying is that I don't see the point why we should wait for that. Because waiting for that is allowing the dragging of this case, which we are sort of saying that there are people who are enjoying and who are feeding through that. So we don't want that. We want this thing to be terminated so that we can start
now.
what we are looking forward to.
Which
Do you
is
understand?
375.
Yes. And if you ask me, 375 won't even take long
No.
before we
I'm
get a
estimating
verdict.
about 3 months and then we'll get a verdict.
Yes.
That's what I'm estimating. Because with this one, it's been dragged, unnecessarily dragged. You know, it's been dragged. For some weird reason, it's been dragged. And I don't enjoy this torture anymore. It's torture. Watching all of this is torture.
Right, let's hear what people have to say. Emil, do you still have something to say?
No, we can open the
Right,
lines.
just
I'm
open the
sure
line.
some people are burning to say
Let
something.
me hear this voice notes. Just gonna take few, and let's keep it short for today.
Guys, you can
How
call
are
in.
you and how is Emily?
Hi.
Can you help me understand this? I came across a certain clip on YouTube that Tefo.
You know, I'm worried about playing these clips where there's a YouTube that said something. And I'll tell you, I'm also worried about people who come in this platform when we open and they talk about other people. We're not going to talk about other people, guys. So if you have the information and you feel that there's information that you need to pass, please do your own research and come with that research
With it
raw
verified.
from a verified source.
From
Let me
yourself.
put it like that.
Verified, please.
Zanzi, hello. Okay, but let me continue this here.
Tefo was saying he was suggesting this trial within a trial, and he was also suggesting that there should be different trials. If ever they get into trials, they should have a trial for accused 1 to 4 and separate it with accused number 5. So I'm failing to understand, and I'm thinking there should be a story there with number 5, because he was saying number 5 should be trialed on his own.
Yeah, you see what you are saying, I will verify it for you. There was a talk like that in court.
Okay.
There was a talk like that.
I don't know.
It was on the basis that I don't think Tifo felt the working relationship with accused number 5's defense.
Oh.
And now separating the cases, it was based on that. And perhaps one can speculate to say that maybe there was a theory before that of maybe accused number 5 being a person who might flip and do something that will be in line with the state. And I think we alluded to that. And that's obviously that's an allegation. There's nothing to it. It's just an allegation.
And a speculation.
And a speculation. Because if you look at accused number 5 almost has got nothing to lose.
No.
It's serving a longer sentence, multiple sentences,
life sentences.
Yes,
that he's serving.
and the agents of accused number 5 is not as the same as the agents of accused 1 and 2.
Yes.
For example.
Yes.
That was where this was coming from.
It was a long time ago.
So guys, we can continue calling. I see that there were people that were
A
calling.
lot
So
has
I'm going to read
changed
this.
since
I saw
then.
that there was a debate about the context of the occurrence book, which were read into the record by Guinea. In my view, the record was admissible only to the extent that it exists as it was read. It is not admissible to show the truth. Thank you very much. That's my thinking. This caller. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello.
Good evening, Mr. Arno and beautiful Emily.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
We're good, and you?
I'm blessed, thank you.
Yes.
The question I want to ask, ukuthi, should Urata decide ukuthi lama confessions are you avail? And good trial, the main trial, what's going to happen? Bazokwetsha ngokuthi bakhulume amanga.
No, what is going to happen is that then the statements that they said they wrote are going to be read, meaning that they're going to form part of the main trial and they're going to have an effect to that trial. Obviously, if you read something that says, Mina, I was part of the people that went and took Senzo's life and forced Laura's, that's what the trial, within the trial, is preventing. So we are saying, let us not go there. Those were not taken in a correct way. Let us not use them to judge these people. Now, if Rata says, no, actually, I feel that all the rules were followed. Then I'm admitting that evidence. It's going to be used here. Then Baloyi will come back and read whatever that he needs to read on those statements.
I understand. And then, because accused number 2 is obvious as the golden teeth. And then what's this? The head. I'm a prince. Okay, I work all up here. That's why you lied. You were there.
So the evidence is gonna have that weight of saying you said 1, 2, 3. You said you did this thing. So that is a different scenario now. Even if the DNA is not there, fingerprints are not there and whatnot, if I said, hey, I'm the one who actually did this thing, then it gives a bit of weight to that. Unlike in KZN, which is, we're told it's what happened with the guy who was in KZN, who was admitting that I did this, and the court said, get out of here, you're wasting my time. But in Joburg, now they're going to work with that. Because in Joburg, they are learned more than the KZN lawyers, I would assume.
One other thing, your law magistrate, a woman, who said accused number 2 was so confident. Imagine a person who hasn't bathed for a month. Ungena phakathi kwabantu ababathile this morning. Ungena nje uphakamisa ikhanda, you are just confident because for the fact that ukungena kwakhe he mentioned ukuthi I didn't bath for a whole month, it means bekazi ukuthi ngiyanuka la. He was reporting ningamangali vele smell, I didn't bath. It shows that he was not confident. Unamanga.
You reckon?
One other thing, this advocate, how did he allow the client yakhe ukuthi iyophana nge-statement under those circumstances?
Good question.
Because if she was a real lawyer, bekumele ngaba ngivela ungena kwakhe uthe this and this and this didn't happen, was supposed to happen. Therefore, because the magistrate herself, she wasn't supposed to carry on the statement. Yeah. She was not supposed to continue at all.
Yeah, no, siyakuzwa sibonge kakhulu, asikuvale ngoba ngithe abantu bebefishane namhlanje.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Amo.
Siyabonga, thank you. Yes, in my view, the record was admissible. I was reading here to the extent that it existed and not admissible to show the truth or accuracy of what was recorded and read by Guinea. The truth or accuracy of the record could only be vouched for by the author of the record, who is the police officer who made the entries on the OPC. Thank you for raising this point, because now opening this case, Emil, would have allowed those people to come and vouch for this, and therefore the accuracy and the truth is no longer in question. Mzansi, hello.
Okay.
Hi, hello, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. Just a few points. I know we said you must be quick today.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the judge the other day when he wanted to push that as a defense or as Ntanzi saying that all of these people working together is a conspiracy.
Yes.
Why would you want to push that?
Good question. Is it a
Why
conspiracy?
Why would the judge want to push that narrative? Because no one ever said there was a conspiracy amongst the judge, the white lady judge with the cops and all of them together. But then he pushes that. Then it makes suspicious that already we know he's going to admit this evidence. We know he has to admit this evidence, because if he doesn't admit this evidence and says these guys were beaten up, then so many people then can go to jail. Because it's either you admit and then 2 people or 5 people in total can go to jail because of this, or you have hundreds of people, high-ranking people going to jail. So the easier one is for these two to go to jail.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's
That's
the
my
math.
only point. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
The maths. Yes, that's the maths right there.
Well, Baloyi would therefore not be entitled to attempt to prove that the record was true or correct by relying on the hearsays of Gininda, who had no role in recording of transcription of the record. It is for this reason I think Advocate Mngome Zulu was justified not to ask for reopening of the case, but just argue the point. If this case was reopened, it was going to work against the accused, as the state would rectify their mistake by calling the person who was placed to verify the record. I think the judge realized the state made a mistake and wanted to afford them. I said this thing. When this judge is pushing you into a certain direction, don't go to that direction.
That's why Mnisi was like, I abandoned it.
Don't go to that direction, because you see what it sounded like a very fair person.
Sure,
I'm a fair person.
I'm a fair person, he kept saying. But he actually wanted to give the state an opportunity to
rectify
correct.
and call that whoever, I don't know. I don't even.
Ramachale Mulefi.
Now you see, I remember when you told me about this, I was like, no, this was a bait. This never go to where this judge is telling you to go. If it tells you to go to the corner, go to the center.
When he says go left, you go right.
Go right. But the fact that Nisi put it on record, it was not wrong, because it was correct. It has now created grounds for argument.
Okay.
If the state had these people, they called everyone. They even called someone who's part of the prison. I mean the police station. Why didn't they not bring the people to come and authenticate their OP entries?
Good question.
Good evening, Mr. Anonymous and Emily. Thank you so much for that update. It is really appreciated. I didn't watch like last week, the most part of.
Oh, unfortunately. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir. How are you?
Emily, ninjani?
Siyaphila,
Siyaphila.
Yebo, hayi. Ithi kumemfishane nje. Uyabona lento kaNtanzi bathi unesifo senhliziyo. Bakhava lento yabo ukuthi bamchokile, bathi angeke bachoke umuntu oneproblem enhliziyo. Yebo.
No, ngiyakubona ukuthi ubhekephi.
Yeah, yiyo into enza ukuthi bathi uNtanzi bakane sifo senhliziyo. And into esibili uGininda ubani Mjiyako uGininda mithi uGininda i-cold case. Mjiyako angithiba kanecala saziza yena lapha. So uGininda umkhombe ngalelo cala lelo leswala kamenzela ifavor.
Allegedly.
Yabo. So uNtanzi la kule mine bakasebenza kuyo i-medical yakhe. Uyabona mawungena emine uphuma bakunikeza i-certificate, mawungena bakucheka, mawuphuma bayakucheka. So uNtanzi masibe onayo i-certificate sase kule mine bakasebenza kuye eCarltonville. Masibe unaso, mawuphuma mawenza i-exit wenza i-certificate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Siyabonga.
Thank you. All is alleged.
Interesting. All is alleged. But for
Allegedly.
my non-Zulu speakers, I got you. He said that they are covering the fact that he was electrocuted or choked with what I thought was a taser. He's saying that actually for them to insist that he has a heart condition allegedly is because they are covering up that they would never electrocute someone with a heart condition, allegedly. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And then the second one is saying that Gininda might possibly have a case on Mjiyako or know of his other case, and that is why he was doing all of that he was doing allegedly with Ntanzi over there in 2020. Perhaps he was forced to do it allegedly. And another thing that he says that the mines do check you and they give you a medical certificate when you enter, a medical certificate when you exit the mine. But Ntanzi even said every 6 months, right, they have to go for that medical certificate. They give you that medical certificate to authenticate whether you should go underground or not. And he's saying that it's probably there.
Yeah, someone Lana Lento. All the way from, I think, Ulundi or Nongoma. I'm not sure. I saw initially when you posted. Say, I'm not happy with the likes we have. Veiws, 530, but we have only 344. So let us push these likes, guys. Let's continue with the voice.
Because I was really upset by the defense lack of cementing things that are important, just as you mentioned, such as the COVID issue, the heart problem issue, the fact that Ntanzi never had a gold teeth or whatever, the fact that he never wore dreads. Those type of things, they should have hammered on that, and especially the discrepancies between the state's witnesses, all those policemen, they all in all their testimonies, there are loopholes, many of them. In Mukhane's, in Mukhula's, in Jonathan's, in Lissering's, all of them, those people who were brought. The guy, the traditional healer, he didn't even know Muzi from nowhere. All of that, it was easy for the defense to take this one home. But I feel like they are sleeping on it. I don't know what they are bargaining on. And I am with you, Emily, when you say you feel like they didn't support Misi, whereas I also understand, Mr. Anonymous, that the case shouldn't be reopened. However, there was another way that Ngomezulu could have done this thing. He could have just put the impression on record that they are together as the defense, even if they would come back on Saturday or the same Friday afternoon and say we are abandoning that application. But it is important for them to stay united in this instances. I don't think it's what he said, it's the way he said it, like I was caught off guard. So it was clear that there was no communication between them, and he could have said something to the effect of, okay, we will come back to the judge, or we will explore that avenue and put in our application, and they could come back afterwards and say we are abandoning that application. So yeah, I think Ngomezulu has been disappointing for me a lot. Ramosupile's questions were clearer, but he does not have that stamina to hammer on something, and so they lacked greatly, and it is only now to depend on God and the grace of God completely, entirely, to have this thing go the way of the defense. Thank you.
Right, that's what happened. We see your calls. Sometimes I don't take your calls because I just wanted to finish these voice notes. Just to cover all aspects. But if you still want to call, you can call before we exit, and keep it short as usual. I'm sure you noticed that I fast forward some of the voice notes to be faster. If you find your voice different from what you recorded on, it's because I have increased the speed. Mzansi, hello.
Hey, Mr. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
All right. Thanks. I'm unable to hear you, or maybe can you hear me?
You are. There's a glitch.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing you now.
Yeah.
No, man. I just want to ask something, Mr. Ano and Emily. Did the state prove their case that Mjiyako was rightfully representing Ntanzi? According
no.
to did they actually prove their case?
No.
No. But if then they didn't prove their case, so that means whatever that Ntanzi is saying that he was beaten and all that, that means it's true, because of how can he had a lawyer who neglected everything, didn't even protect his client against all those things. Because as I remember, he's the one who suggested that Ntanzi must confess. And as I remember, he was the one who suggested that Ntanzi must abandon bail.
Yes.
So how can being a lawyer to your client and then you put your client into that kind of risk? Because as I remember, if you hire a lawyer, if you are accused of something, the first thing that the lawyer will do is to get you bail. That is the first thing that they're going to do, to get you bail, to get out there. And then from there, they will sort other things. They'll sort your case while you are outside. How can he suggest that the guy must abandon bail? So now, one thing that I see is the case is actually based on Mjiyako. If what he's saying is Mjiyako was unlawfully representing Ntanzi, that means what Ntanzi is saying is true. That means the confession was forced to him. Because obviously he was going to say to the lawyer, hey man, this is what is happening. Or he was going to say to the lawyer, what are you saying? They say I must confess. What are you saying? So there's no way in this trial where they're saying that Ntanzi asked Mjiyako, hey Mjiyako, these guys are saying 1, 2, 3, what are you saying? And I remember last you were saying that the defense must not call Mjiyako. Because it's not for the defense to prove that Ntanzi hired Mjiyako. It's for the state to prove.
Yes.
So that if they can't prove it, then there's something fishy going on. They don't have to call Mjiyako. To call Mjiyako for what? The state must call Mjiyako. And I remember you saying that if the state had something, or Mjiyako was rightfully hired by Ntanzi, they were going to call Mjiyako. He was going to come with papers and everything, transactions, to say that Ntanzi paid me on this day, what, that whatever attorney of what signed. He was going to come with every paper. Now, where is Mjiyako? The state can't call him because they know he was not there.
Yeah. No.
So, I think the case is actually on this Mjiyako. Otherwise, Ntanzi is free.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
No, thank you very much. Yes, we had to keep up, even though there was a bit of glitch, and we understand. Sorry to our listeners who could not hear, but I think it was clear, even though there was that glitch.
Yes.
Bushira posted about Kelly telling her to come and speak the truth. It's mouthful. No, are we believing that? Was that supposed to be a prophecy? Was that supposed to be a prophecy?
Professor! I don't take that man serious. I'm sorry, guys.
Well,
he's a comedian to me.
But it ruffles the feathers.
It ruffles the feathers.
Right, guys. Tomorrow it's work for some of us. Today, actually. Let us just hold it here. And thank you very much again. Please like the video, share the video, and continue doing that. We will update you, and we will create content as usual.
Yeah, we will come back, Mr. Anonymous. And please, guys, WhatsApp those thingies, those stories, those ideas, those WhatsApp them. Don't leave them on the comment section.
If you want to say something, just say it on WhatsApp.
Yes.
But that being said, we are still going to continue to do something. There are things that we've been sitting on, so we will. I think it's time. This break is giving us that time
to unpack them.
Unpack. There's things that we need to unpack further, so that we hear what you're thinking. And yes, Orlando Pirate and Sundowns drew. I saw someone who, on comments, who was mocking me, saying that Pirates is going to lose. Yeah, we drew with one player down. We drew. We still managed to score.
And he got a red card.
He got a red card team. But I like the way Pirate was playing. I know I had many analysts here, some fake, some good analysts, saying that, hey, Pirate was playing rough. Hey, Pirate was... No, you know how sometimes kick our players. Mkwena Pela, we cannot forget just because he was on the Bafana that he kicks when he gets time. He kicks.
Well, what do you think of Lotch's transition? I know a lot of Pirates players are heartbroken about his move. You know, it's like he'll always be a Pirate player to some of them. But what do you think of his adjusting into Mamelodi Sundowns? Do you think?
Well, I think they brought Lotch to give Zwane a bit of competition and a breather because Zwane is getting old. So they're gonna play him as number 10. He's a very smart player, but if you ask me, obviously it's difficult to replace Zwane. You can always try. There are players that you cannot replace, like Messi. You can replace Messi, even Cristiano. You can replace those people. So I think that it's always good to try and find something closer to what you want to replace. He's a bit younger than Zwane, but even though he's old also when it comes to football. So I think, he's not going to do well against Pirates because they were also, they were kicking him. They didn't want to play with him. They were kicking him. I mean, he left our team. That does not mean that we still keep. We are friends outside, but when it comes to football, we kick. Sometimes kick people. I like the way the coach approached the game. We must kick. Sometimes kick people, and then Rulani will come and say, no, that is not true. No, they kick people. They even broke Parker's leg.
Yes, Bernard Parker was shame.
If they don't kick people, why is Parker's leg broken? They kick people.
Did he ever get his apology?
And they were busy going left and right when they were supposed to apologize. I think they did eventually. Okay. Oh, and Kaizer Chiefs, the Chiefs was playing Mamkiza's team yesterday.
What was the score?
They took the poles out, so they were just playing the game without poles.
What?
Yeah, the score was not. So no one attempted to score a goal, and no goal went in
what
any
in
case.
The ghetto? What in the ghetto is going on? So,
I know Kaizer Chiefs fans are gonna come for me, but you see why Bros,
yes,
the Bafana coach, did not take Kaizer Chiefs. We're not gonna score anything. So the teams that were in the competition, they managed to score. Each one of them scored 1-1. They played each other, they scored. Because I mean that Bafana team was basically 70% to 80% Sundowns, and then a couple of players, I think 5 players from Orlando Pirates. So
I'm still flabbergasted by the fact that there were no polls. Where did they go?
Kaizer Chiefs cannot attempt to score. Those ones, if you don't give them penalties, they are not going to score.
Okay.
You must give them penalties.
Oh, another point I forgot to mention with regards to the case is that the judge was saying that the judge president will be displeased with this time frame of 2 weeks because he was expecting 2 days. 2 days! After arguing for over 3 months.
Which judge president is that?
Ledwaba, I think, in my opinion. I think it's
Is it still working?
Yes.
2
days! That's
any argument.
2 days. Ooh, 2 days summarizing what has been happening over the last 5 months.
Must do it himself.
So yeah.
Right, guys, thank you very much. And again, please like the video.
Please like Morning Gang. We're still heavily relying on you to press that like button, eh?
Sure.
We'll see you on the next one. Thank you guys. Bye.